All right, that's kick ass. That's the first time I've heard that. Moen just created that for me. He got a great new background and everything, and oh my gosh, I'm tickled pink. That sounded awesome. I'm gonna have to listen to that like 5 times today. Anyway, thanks everybody for being here tonight. It is Bomb3r's Blitz right here on the College Football Mafia channel. I'm your host, Nathan Bomber Brown, and with me is somebody that I've actually gotten to become a fan, somebody who knows a lot of the history of college football, more importantly, the business side. And I thought we'd have some conversations about Big 12 Media Dayz, and this was a great opportunity to get to know him. So I want to make sure I say this right. Is it Mike Chaudron or
Chaudron? Pretty close.
What's that?
Pretty close. Chaudron.
Chaudron. Okay,
yes.
Sorry. There you go. Go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell everybody who you are and kind of what you do.
Thank you. Well, it's Mike Chaudron. Coming to you from Chaudron and Sons Farm in Limestone, Tennessee, which is where Davy Crockett was born. So anyway, I've been in business a long time, for about 40 years of business experience, but I grew up in Alabama. I'm a graduate of Alabama. I don't mean to offend anybody that's, a fan of other schools. My book is school neutral. But anyway, grew up in Alabama, was around Bear Bryant, knew his granddaughter at Alabama. So just always loved sports, played football in high school, just loved sports and got into business. And in parallel, I started helping out schools with college football. So I went to church with some guys at East Tennessee State back in the late 1990s and started helping them out on the sidelines. So I learned about the business and got access to see what really happened at that point. So in parallel, as my business career was growing, I'm in the TIC industry, which is testing, inspection, certification. And then in parallel, I was helping coaches, some of whom are now household names, and represented some of them not as an agent, but just helping them out a little bit. So took my business experience, took my football experience, and then put it all together and realized earlier this year that it probably would be helpful to the fans to pull the curtain back on what's happening with the business of college football. So that's why we wrote Agent Confidential, just to pull the curtain back. And again, it's been very successful and having a lot of fun. So I'm really glad to join you. Love what you guys are doing and look forward to the conversation tonight.
This is great. I've got a bunch of really loyal followers in SEC land. And so I love talking to you guys because if you're going to have a long memory about college football, the very first conference you're going to think about it. Well, you got top brands in the Big Ten, but certainly the SEC is holding up that age-old term in college sports. So tell everybody kind of about your book. I've got your name up on the screen, and then I want to make sure we give credit for you for this Agent Confidential. Why did you write it, and why should people go out and read it?
That's a great question. So the reason I wrote it is my Twitter site, Faux Jimmy Sexton, started off as a goof. It was to be like following the faux Pelini kind of thing. And so I really just wanted to have some fun. We created some characters, a pilot, a secretary, doing deals with bourbon behind the scenes, and realized that I started getting some real business questions. And because I have pretty significant business experience, including private equity, I thought, you know what? It makes sense. I had already written another book on leadership that's ready to go. But I realized about, with the crazy season we saw in December with the coaching contracts and everything, I came up with the idea of this book to pull the curtain back on what's really happening in the business of college football. Because what we see as fans around coaching searches and that type of thing is not what's really happening. So having a little bit of access, I lay it out in the book, really how it started and all the way to where we are now. So I think the reason why fans will like it is that by pulling the curtain back, you see what's really happening behind the scenes, be it in coaching searches, large buyouts, NIL, and then chapter 24 is called Follow the Money, which is about private equity's entrance into college football. So it just really all came together really well. So I tell people all the time, I did go to Alabama, so it's going to be simple to read because I can read it and understand it. But really wanted to do something for a sport that I love just so much. And we've got some great stories in there. It's not limited to the SEC. We've got some Michigan stories in there. We've got some Penn State stories in there. We've got quite a few interesting stories in the book that get us to this point. So, it's available on Amazon, in Kindle, and in paperback. And then I recorded the Audible myself. So it is available in Audible in my voice, which was very difficult, but also a lot of fun. So I think your fans would get a real kick out of it because it walks you through what's really happening in the sport we all love.
I appreciate that so much. And people don't understand how hard it is to do this creative stuff. You think you can just sit down and sit in front of a camera and just create. You think that you can just dream up a book and it all comes together, and it's not that way, right?
No, it really isn't. And, one of the things I started with was I'm a big fan of Michael Lewis, The Blind Side, The Big Short, and I watched his master class. And I had been a frustrated writer for a long time. My mom taught me to write handwritten notes and that kind of thing. So in his master class, he says, to be a writer, what you have to do, sit your butt in the chair. Get started. Just go. So it was a very challenging process. I had already written another book that hasn't been released yet. So I had a general idea how to put that out. One of my mom's friends was the poet laureate in the state of Alabama for about 10 years, which I think it's hysterical that the state of Alabama, my home state, has a poet laureate. But Sue Brandon was a professor at the University of South Alabama, so she helped me really with the development of the book and the theme. And then you just sit down, and it takes a lot of time. Then the Audible, oh my goodness, they kicked that thing back to me. The Audible was about a month and a half after the book because they just kept kicking it back because of something wrong. But you learn how to do it, and it's out there, and it really is just it's a lot of fun, and starting to see a flywheel effect now of speaking engagements, and I'm a regular on WJOX out of Birmingham, which is a 100,000 watt SEC powerhouse. So we're having some fun with it out there.
I think that's awesome. I think that's really, really cool. And we'll segue into Big 12 Media Days. Maybe we'll circle back on the Protect College Sports Act. I'd like to talk about that a little bit. But first, let's do some shout outs. Have you done these shows before where you got to give shout outs for people?
Yeah, I have. I wasn't prepared for any. So cue me up, tee me up a little bit, and then I can do some.
Okay. Well, let me get to a few shout outs for people that I know. All right, here we go. Evil Badger Ryan Willie, valuable member of the College Football Mafia family, saying hi, College Football Mafia. Steven Yes, who was a Big Red Nebraska fan. Steven Yes, sitting. Boy, Nebraska's better off. College football is better off when Nebraska's good. Isn't that right?
100%. In fact, some of my favorite games is when Alabama and Bear Bryant played, Nebraska, 71 Sugar Bowl, and then later on with Tom Osborne and just going back and forth in those slugfests. So college football is better when the big names like Nebraska are good.
Completely agree. Bob Swinger, who's a Penn State Nittany Lion, he knows what good football is. Also a valuable member of the College Football Mafia family. Good to see you, Bob. Hi, College Football Mafia. Mama Duck Clemson Tigers in the house saying hello, everyone. Good to see you, Mama Duck, who's a recent member, but certainly active and very loyal. We appreciate her being with us. Bruce Harris Law, Boomer. I think he's Sooner. So we're talking about Oklahoma in the house. Bruce always comes in and shouts out. I appreciate seeing him. Good to see you, Bruce. Nick Kelso says Bomber time. I appreciate that so much, Nick. Thanks for being here tonight. MBM 357, Oklahoma State fan. Go Pokes, he says. What to see. We'll talk about, I think we'll touch on Oklahoma State in just a minute here when we're talking about the Big 12 Media Days. Mark's Holy Grail, who is a USC Trojan in the house, also a valuable member and contributor to the College Football Mafia family, saying hello. Happy Tuesday, Bomber and College Football Mafia community. That's really what's cool. We have a pretty good community around here. And how important is that as you've looked over the years? And isn't community part of the thing that makes the SEC special, for instance?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, just the camaraderie, the traditions, the tailgating, the stories, the legends. I mean, everybody should spend a Saturday night, excuse me, in Baton Rouge, and experience that, and in Neyland Stadium, and walk through the T, and there's just so much tradition throughout the SEC. And I think the communities, and just how you see how it brings people together. I talk about in the book, one of my favorite memories of my late son and his brother was watching Tennessee football on a Saturday morning, shortly before he died of cancer. And it just gives me great memories of family. And there's so many people that connect that way through tailgating and season tickets and just the rivalries. And I just think that that's so important. And I think it's that way everywhere. I mean, Nebraska has sold out every game for 40 years or something insane. Penn State with the whiteouts, USC with the Trojans. So, I saw, you got somebody, Clemson, which is not real far from here. I'm up in very northeast Tennessee. So I've spent a lot of time down close to there at Furman and at North Greenville University. So it's just tradition everywhere. And I just love it. I think it's an important piece of the fabric of our lives.
I think it really is. And the part of the tribalism, the jingoistic, that is sort of tearing apart college football is that very same thing. The community's good in one aspect, but it's also exclusionary, and it can really sort of push away and not be as accepting. You agree with that as well?
Yeah, very much so. Now, my wife, who I met in Alabama, but she grew up in Starkville, is probably even more a traditionalist in college football than me. And she is almost to the point of hating the game on where it's gotten. Right. I am not there. I've come to the realization, especially with the book, is that, it's just different now. But you know what? We still love our schools. There's still the great rivalries. There's still the pageantry. The band's going to play. I have you can't see it on my shelf, but I have a cup, a Texas A&M cup that has $10 worth of pennies in it. And the reason it does is I won a bet between Alabama and A&M with a coworker when I lived in Houston, and she paid off in pennies.
Nice. I love that.
Which was just very much an Aggie thing to do. And she was mad because it was double or nothing, because I had better the year that Johnny Manziel beat Alabama for $5. And then so I said, okay, double or nothing for 10. And she paid me in pennies, and I sell every penny in the Aggie cup. So just that kind of stuff continues.
I love that so much. I think that's fantastic. It's what makes college football so fun. Is that passion that you get from fans and from rooting interests. Bulldog, Mississippi, who you recognize that Mississippi Starkville, you said Mississippi State Bulldogs in the house he's been a member for a long time. So
that's nice. My father-in-law ran the bookstore at the Union Bookstore at Mississippi State from 1958 to 1986. And my mother-in-law worked in the athletic ticket office, not a fan of Jackie Sherrill, at Mississippi State. And so we got married in that city, and actually working on doing an event at Strange Brew Coffee House, a book signing and some stuff worked on in Starkville. So I have a big place in my heart for Starkville, Mississippi.
I love it. Well, he is very loyal. Bulldog, he sends me texts. He checks on me when I don't have a show, make sure I'm feeling well. So nice. I appreciate him very much.
Yeah, well, that's cool.
It is cool. Yeah. Again, that loyalty thing, that's something you can't buy, right? It takes time and a lot of trust to get that.
It really does. And, so if you'll let me tell just a slight Bulldog story, do we have a second?
Sure. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
So I met my wife at the University of Alabama because she's a speech pathologist, and the only other place to do speech pathology in Mississippi was Ole Miss. Well, my father-in-law was not going to pay for her to go to Ole Miss. He's a Mississippi State guy. So he paid out of state for her to come to Alabama. So I met her there. Well, fell in love, engaged in 2 weeks. We start working on the wedding and stuff. And I'm working in Tuscaloosa. And I said, okay, I'm going to come over for the weekend. He goes, hey, well, it's the SEC baseball tournament. Alabama is playing, Dave Maganin is playing Mississippi State with Palmero and Clark and those guys. Come on to the game. I'll leave you a ticket, in the will call window. So great. On my way. He goes, now look, you're going to park off of Highway 82 out in left field. But what I want you to do is walk the long way around through center field, through right field, around first base, and meet me there. Well, being the really bright 21-year-old kid that I was, I thought, why would I walk all that distance when it's almost a straight line down third baseline to go to meet him? What I didn't understand was there's something called the left field lounge in Bulldog territory. And I'm decked out in Alabama gear. So by the time I got to my soon-to-be father-in-law, I am covered in beer.
I bet that's true.
Because the good people of the left field lounge let me have it. So I walked up to my father-in-law, and he goes, dumbass, you came through the left field lounge, didn't you? And we just had a big laugh about that. So I still think it's cool when my friends at State talk about the left field lounge and all of that. It's a lot different now than it was then. But so just have such great memories of Starkville, and I'll still have a lot of friends there today.
That's awesome. I love stories like that. Thanks for sharing that. Joaquin Morales, he is an ASU Sun Devil. Very proud one in the house. ASU's looking to bounce back this year. Hey, Bomber and College Football Mafia, smash that like button, folks, and go Devils. Thank you so much, Joaquin. I really appreciate that. Edward the Auburn Tiger, another SEC fan in the house saying, let's go. Good to have you here. CFB Upstart, what's up? Good to have you here. And also a new member of the College Football Mafia family. Let's see if I can get to a few more. Jay Chapman, SEC all the time. Jay comes in and he represents the ACC or SEC around here. And we appreciate his fandom. SCOSIYO. Everybody, that's Cherokee for hello. Have you seen that before? I've never seen that. Well, I have not.
But that's cool. But I have Indian blood in me, so that's cool to see.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. In fact, Osio or Isoyo. I don't know. That'll be interesting. Jay, you're gonna have to tell me phonetically how to say that. I want to get it right. Hi everybody, he says anyway. Becky Goleski's another valuable member of the College Football Mafia family saying also sup. And last but not least, we will say BYU football. That would be Shonsky saying, hey, Bob. Okay. So we've got shout outs. I want to talk about Big 12 Media Days. So I saw on a few of your posts today that you've been tracking that.
Yeah.
What are some of your thoughts about what happened at Big 12 Media Days?
So, I like the Big 12 a lot. I was on the Big 12 Today show back in April and, like those guys a lot. So I wanted to follow it. Obviously wanted to see the Texas Tech, but I was really interested, when you look at these media days or what the head ball coach, Steve Spurrier, used to say, it's talking season, right? Where everybody's undefeated and we're all talking. And I feel like the coaches are going to say a lot of the same things, very much coach speak. I was really interested to hear, what the commissioners and the school presidents and those people say. And I wasn't disappointed with that. Right out of the gate, we had the announcement of the monster deal.
Right. Let me bring up that screenshot while you're talking. Go ahead. Keep going.
The Big 12. And at first I thought, okay, so, this really isn't about monster. It really is a lot more about that. Colleges and conferences are just looking for all the different streams of revenue they can come up with. That's what this is really about, not that Monster did a deal. But then later this afternoon, I did a little back of the napkin math.
Yeah, it's not good.
It's not good for men's basketball, football, women's basketball. I think it works out to about $1 million a school.
1.25 a year is all they got.
So again, with my little bit of SEC bias, but I think my friends in the Big Ten would say the same thing. They don't even take that call.
Right. Well, yeah, I don't know.
At those numbers.
I would love to be critical of Brett Yormark, but maybe that's all he could get.
Well, it could be. And I think it goes back to what you're seeing. And I got to give Brett a lot of credit. I mean, if you look at this Redbird Capital deal that they tried to put together a few months ago, was really, really interesting. And they're just looking for different alternatives. But there's something that I think a lot of people missed about that Redbird Capital. I think it even goes to the Monster deal is that Redbird Capital owns a big piece of Paramount.
Right. Yes.
Paramount owns CBS. Yes. So by doing that deal with them, he's creating a new stream for them because the SEC and Big Ten are going to do their thing. So I thought that was very innovative. But if you look at the deal that Redbird made for the schools, we'll give you $30 million and at 10% interest, and you give us a good chunk of your media rights. So the debt service per school would have been $3 million a year.
Yeah.
I mean, that's unbelievable amounts of money to give up your most valuable asset, which is your media rights or a portion of it. So that just shows. So in the book, we talk about private equity. They're not there for their help, folks. They're there to make money. They're not good. They're not bad, but they saw an opportunity there. So, but the Monster deal at first was like, oh, that's kind of cool. They're not tied to Pepsi or Coca-Cola, energy. It kind of be good. But then doing the math, oof.
Yeah, Becky does the back of the napkin you mentioned. 1.25 is for 48 teams. Those teams represent football, men's basketball, women's basketball, and it also includes the Big 12 championship games. So, boy, I don't know. Again, I like being critical of Brett Yormark. I think he pissed me off the day when he said walked away from a college football playoff deal that would have given Big 12 2 teams every year. I think that was a massive mistake, but everybody says, oh, look, they're still negotiating. But I just don't – I'd love to be – and I did on Twitter when this was announced. I banged on him with the math. I thought it was a brutal number, but maybe it's all he could get. What we don't know is who he's taking calls from, right?
That's the thing. And I think this really just goes to the bigger issue in that the economics of college sports are just so far ahead of the governance. And the governance just wasn't prepared to handle it all. I mean, if you think about the NCAA, it's kind of stodgy. It's a bunch of schools who move slow and that kind of thing. So I made the analogy the other day on WJOX. I said, the economics trying to keep up with the governance in college football is like an offensive tackle trying to cover a slot receiver in space.
Right.
You just can't do it. You're not made for it. So that's the point I'm making in a lot of my communications and when I'm on shows and tweets and things is that, who's in charge? Courts,
right now,
Congress, all this. You just really don't know. So it's certainly a very interesting time in there. But until you get the governance thing figured out, it's going to continue to be the Wild Wild West.
I completely agree with you. Let's go to another big one. And by the way, I've always posted the links to people's stuff. I posted the link for that last article I just read. And I'm going to post the link to this one because I'm not the one who created them. Let me quickly give credit where credit's due around here. Nice. So this is about this network operations center for the phone for all the instant replay in college football in the Big 12. The Big 12 has announced they will be introducing live replay review conversations following the ACC's lead from last year. This allows fans watching the TV broadcast to hear the conversation between the replay officials and the on-field official. What do you think about this one?
I didn't watch a lot of ACC football last year, but I loved hearing the officials talk to the ACC office.
Well, they're more accountable, right? Or they're more accountable if they do that.
It was fascinating. And again, I probably only saw it 5 or 6 times. But what really came across to me is sometimes it seemed like the decision was being made in the league office and not by the head referee.
Right.
But still, it gave you insight. And, there's not always a lot of transparency in this sport. And that's a degree of transparency. So I like it a lot. And I salute the Big 12 for doing that. I can't see the Big 10 or the SEC doing that. I mean, I think they have to rush officials off, under, cover of police cover to get them out of games. So I'm not sure they would do it, but it's interesting for sure. I love it.
I'm a big advocate for a national union for college football referees.
Yeah,
I think they ought to all get paid generally about the same money. They moderate that, and at the same time, they all look at the rules exactly the same way. Right now, we have conferences that interpret rules a little bit differently, and now in the college football playoff era, that's starting to affect football games. So
it absolutely
I think they need to.
It's just like everything else. It's a matter of the governance catching up with the economics. How would they govern that? But I certainly think that it makes a lot of sense. I don't want to tell too many stories too much, but I have an SEC referee story.
Okay, if it can be quick.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So real quick, I was at Mississippi State. At East Tennessee State was playing there. I'm carrying the cord for a headset for a defense coordinator. So a long time ago. Jackie Sherrill's the coach of Mississippi State. They go up 27-3 versus a 1AA school, right, at the end of the first half. And they line up to kick the extra point, and he fakes it. 29-3 at the half. So I'm walking off with an SEC referee, and I'm livid. I'm like, I can't believe that jerk did that, And the referee looked at me, and he pointed at Sherrill, and he goes, what an ass. So those stories are in the book, but every time I think of those officials, I think, what we're seeing and what they're saying are usually 2 different things.
I would agree with that 100%. Let's get to the next story. This one's from Devil's Digest. Again, there's the link to his post on X. This is a quote from Brett Yormark today about the college football playoff. I liked 16 teams initially when 24 became part of the conversation. We've done our own conference due diligence around it, and we think it might be a great fit for us. I'll get to that in a second. We've got to look at what we have and what potentially we might gain and ultimately make the best decision for the Big 12. Brett Yormark on potential college football playoff expansion. Last year, if there would have been 24 teams in the playoff, the Big 12 would have had 5 teams in. So in your opinion, how do you feel about the SEC being the holdout against a 24? And what's the chance now that we've gone through this Protect College Sports Act and Brendan Sorsby, the way that everything has come out this year in politics, is there any chance we get to a 2014 playoff by the end of this year?
I don't think so. And I have in my writings and book, I have been neutral as far as 12, 16, 24, whatever the number of teams would be. I believe the reason for the holdout from the SEC is that no matter how many teams there is a limited amount of money, a very large amount of money. So if you suddenly have 24 cows at the trough drinking from the trough as opposed to 12 or 16, the money's not going to be doubled from 12 to 24. So you're talking about less money per team. I think that's what is keeping the SEC away for the most part, because just more mouths to feed out of the trough. At some point, I think they'll probably come around. That is, if they and the Big Ten don't hook up together and create, the Super League, which is very possible. But I don't think that we get there by the end of the year. I think they're going to. I don't believe we'll get there. I think ultimately we will get there, but I don't see it by the end of the year.
The advantage to a 2014 playoff, and there's been polls in the SEC world that also agree that coaches would like to see more access for more teams. Yeah. So at the end of the day, which is more important, I think, to some of the schools? Is it access and just getting into the playoff and really seeing how good your team is every year? Or is it, as you say, just a money thing? Because it's not just the 24 teams. We're also talking about potentially blowing up the conference championship games.
Yeah. So if you looked at the SEC, it wasn't the Media Dayz. It was the SEC spring meetings, that happened a few weeks ago. The SEC, and I don't want to be just an SEC homer, but the SEC has historically been in lockstep. What the conference office in Birmingham said, the schools, man, they towed the line. Not anymore. If you look at the comments that came out of those SEC spring, early summer meetings, man, you had Missouri going this way. You had Tennessee this way. You had Alabama all going. So it was really unusual to see that, okay, we're one big happy family, but we're not going to necessarily agree. And, if I'm a coach, I want 24. I live about 100 miles from the University of Tennessee. My sons went there. So pull for them when they're not playing Alabama. And Josh Heupel is on record saying, hey, 24, because he's got a better chance of getting in at 24 than he does 12. They made it a couple of years ago, but the SEC is brutal. So if I'm a coach, I want 24, because if I get in the playoffs with a 7-5 record or 8-4, I keep my job. But if it's 12 and I'm on the outside looking in, boy, that's when the hot seat heats up. And in the book, we talk about Buyout Island, which is a pretty popular destination based on the money. But still, I see why coaches get it. So, again, that's just where there's nobody in charge. You don't have anybody in charge that can help bring all of that together.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. The governance is all screwed up. And the fact that we've got here and everybody's now saying the only reason we're here is because of other people's problems. It's completely disingenuous. The conferences have responsibility. The NCAA has responsibility, and they're the ones who put themselves behind the 8 ball. Decades ago, they could have settled this thing, paying the athletes and done other things, and we would not be where we are today.
No, we would not. And, and like him or hate him or not, Nick Saban called it. He point blank said that when we were getting to this point, he said, okay, here's where we're going. And, you're going to have big money deals. You're going to have players jumping around, all this type of stuff. And look, his part of the way he wanted to keep it that way because he could recruit better that way.
Of course it was. It's completely disingenuous.
It was. What he said in Congress was disingenuous. But he did call it. He called it several years ago. This is what's going to happen if we go down this path. And here we are. So, but Nick's okay. He's almost a billionaire now, owning all those Mercedes dealerships. So I think he's going to be all right.
Yeah, he's. It's always great when people are away. All of a sudden, they become the oracle on the hill, right?
Yeah,
I mean, it's
exactly.
Everybody knows, and you started off the show with this. The bags of cash have been in college football since when I was a little kid. In the 70s, the athletes were getting paid. Then we have SMU and Pony Express and everybody getting more and more money and more. That has never gone away. What's now the problem, though, is that there's supposedly this equalization in paying the athletes, but you and I both know we're near $50-60 million for a football roster anymore.
Yeah, it's just insane. Again, I lived in the Houston area forever, and you can't outspend A&M in Texas. I mean, there's serious money there. So, but you're right. I mean, the money changed hands. I worked for a bank in Mississippi back in the early 90s, and I used to go to these little small branches. And I was in a small branch in South Mississippi one time, and a loan officer called me in his office, and he showed me a lawyer had just put in an auto loan document. And he showed it to me, and it was for a Chevy Cavalier. So for those of us that are old enough to know, it wasn't a very nice car. And I said, well, such and such, the lawyer must not be doing very good and very well right now. And the loan officer said, it's not for him. It's for that 6'7" power forward down at the high school who's going to an unnamed SEC school. And that was 1992. So it kind of opened my eyes at that point. I'd been at Alabama in the early 80s. I saw the $100 handshakes,
Sure.
that type of thing. And now, it's just out in public now. But the money's been changing hands, as you mentioned, in the 70s, 80s, 90s. And here we are.
Really, when we got into the modern age of college football, money came with it right away. Question for you from Mark's Holy Grail, super smart, by the way. Mark's also done a bunch of this stuff you're doing. He's done media for years and years and years. Very smart. He knows the math behind different playoff formats. He likes a 14 team, but he also can see a 16 and 24, depending. His question to you says, as an Alabama alumni, are you pro SEC breakaway? If so, why? And do you support a breakaway for the PCS before the PCSA passes the Senate, or are not worried PCSA will pass? That's a compound sentence like 7 times, but go ahead. You can attack that however you want.
Really great question there, Mark, and I do appreciate that. The first thing is, as an Alabama alumni, I am not pro SEC breakaway. This is just Mike's opinion here, but I really like the pageantry and the history and the tradition of the SEC. I wouldn't mind seeing a little bit of conference realignment and get the right teams geographically where they should be, but I am not. I really wish we could go back to, the Big 8, the Southwest Conference, the SEC, the ACC, those Big 10, those conferences. So I'm not pro SEC. I'm not pro breakaway. I'm not pro super conference either, although I think that's the direction we're going. So I wouldn't support a breakaway before the bill passes the Senate, and I'm not sure the bill will pass the Senate. One thing that's really interesting is that Cody Campbell at Texas Tech is a massive donor to Ted Cruz's campaign.
Right. Yeah. Millions and millions of dollars.
Right. And then also Paxton, who is now the Republican nominee for the Senate seat, beating incumbent John Corman, is also, Cody Campbell is a massive donor to them. And Paul Feinbaum said the other day that he knows for a fact that private equity was involved in the drafting of the legislation. So, it's just all tied together. So I am not pro breakaway. I don't think it'll happen by the end. And I'm not sure the bill in its written form would pass. I mean, something really interesting happened yesterday when Alabama and Auburn put out a joint press release. Trust me, growing up in that state, that doesn't happen. So for the two of them to come out against it, to me, just really speaks volumes as to kind of where we are in the sport right now. I the first time I saw the press release and the actual document, I thought it was a goof. I thought somebody had just put it together as a joke, and it's not. It is real. So I think that just shows you where we are in things. But I don't know where this goes, Mark. I'd be interested. What do you think? Where do you guys think that it's going to go? Mark, question, or to you, Nathan? Where do you guys see it going?
So I'm on record. I've been doing this for a few years, and my opinion has always been the same. I think for one thing, I'm a huge athlete advocate. You and I are just meeting now, but if you were to go back and you were to look at my Twitter history and other things, I think athletes need to be at the negotiating table. I think any legislation that gets passed has to have them as an integral part of the negotiations. I think that the CSC was a flawed organization, never was going to work the way it was originally written, and part of the reason is the players weren't in the drafting of that. Either were small schools and underwriting big school checks as a small school just so you can pay your players so you stay within your rules. It's extortion, and I think the whole thing is corrupt, and so I'm big against that. So the PCSA, as it's written, the very first thing, and I did write a Twitter article. I put it out. This was before Ted Cruz and Cantwell came out and did this huge media blitz, and they got the president to say something and all these other things. Before all that happened, I wrote an article that basically says that if the athletes aren't at the table, there's no way you get union support, and there's no way you can get anything through the House of Representatives. And that has not changed. The Congressional Black Caucus is against this legislation. And so I don't really care what happens in the Senate, in my opinion. All these negotiations, in my opinion, they're all for PR. I think everybody's just trying to put themselves they want to be able to say when they go back, and we're talking about legislators and administrators of school, they want to be able to go back to their constituents and say, see, we tried, and it's all screwed up now. It's not our fault because we were there and we tried to get something done, when in essence, I think this is all written to fail. And I cannot imagine any form of this that would pass, that the Congressional Black Caucus would approve, and that we would ever get through the House of Representatives.
One thing that was interesting in some of the early legislation, I don't remember if it's in the final or not, but early on in Trump's April 3rd memo, buried in it kind of deeply, was the fact that it was possible that they would tie NIL compliance to federal grant money. So can you imagine being the president of a university and all of a sudden your medical school grant, federal grant money, is at risk because you overpaid a wide receiver?
Yeah, or the federal government just doesn't give you your money because you voted against their legislation. You pissed off the guy who gets to underwrite your bills. That's ridiculous.
So some friends of mine that are in athletic administration told me that university presidents and boards of regents, that just drove them insane, because it was like, okay, we'll pay them whatever, however it works, just keep my alumni and donors and stuff happy.
Right.
You start talking about the grant money for my architecture school or my research or my medical school, boy, that's a whole different conversation. And that's why I think we will get some legislation at some point, but I am with you. I do not think in its current form that it could pass.
We have a longstanding member who has been with us for 3 years. Just so you know, our show's only been going about 39 months. So Earl Carr has been with us since the beginning. He's a super BYU fan, and I appreciate him always underwriting what we're doing around here. It's great to see you, Earl. What are we down to, like 57 days before kickoff? And my football Jones is I'm overflowing already. Anyways, he says, go Cougars. Hey, Bomber. Good to have you here, Earl. Thank you so much. And BYU's looking really good. So let's talk about some previews for the Big 12 this year. Do you have any highlights or lowlights that you want to talk about for what's coming up in this college football season for the Big 12?
I have stayed out of the team analyzation business and really stuck to my lane of what is business, obviously. So I'm coming at it really as a fan. I really liked the Oklahoma State hire from North Texas, University of North Texas. I want to say North Texas State, bring his quarterback with him. I think that was a really good hire. I'm here close to East Tennessee State, so the Tulsa coach came from East Tennessee State, and I think has done a good job. I know it's not in the conference, but but they went and beat Oklahoma State last year.
Yes, Oklahoma State's been down.
So that's good. My late son was a high school offensive line coach in Katy, Texas, and at Katy Pato High School, and they love Joey McGuire. So I really like Texas Tech, and what he told me, he said, Dad, Jimbo Fisher wouldn't give us the time of day. Tom Herman, he didn't care anything about us. Joey McGuire, he's one of us, Dad. And that just really spoke to me, the way that he rose up. So I hope that they do well. I was a massive Mike Leach fan. Some friends of mine in Starkville knew him, but I'd already read, Swing Your Sword and all of that stuff. So I kind of have a soft spot in my heart for Texas Tech. I believe they're going to be good this year. Brigham Young's got it going on. I'm glad the coach didn't go to Penn State. I think that was a really smart move from his standpoint. So, I really want the Big 12 to do well. Again, I was able to be on the Big 12 today a month or so ago and talk to those guys. So, but if you're looking for deep analysis on who's going to win a conference, I'm not your guy.
No,
I'm really a fan from that.
That's all I'm asking you. There's outside perception. It's interesting you bring up Oklahoma State. They are getting some early love. I don't think I've seen anybody picking Oklahoma State to win. But, boy, if they can just win a couple of conference games, they would be better. It's unfortunate because they are falling at the exact wrong time in the world of college sports and certainly college football. You do not want to be down now. If you were ever going to spend money and you want to win, you need to do that now, because 2029, 2030, 2031, the next media deals, that's what is the future. And if you miss that ride, it could be terminal.
Yeah, it's going to be rough. I have a former boss who's on the Baylor board of regents, and she texted me one time several years ago, and she's sitting next to T. Boone Pickens at the Oklahoma State Baylor game. This is probably been 10 or 12 years ago, but so just have a soft spot in my heart for the Pokes on there. And so anyway, I certainly hope that they do well. I was a Mike Gundy fan. It was time for him to go, but I always thought, you knew where you stood with him. He wasn't just the typical coach to give you coach speak. And just like that. So, I'm going to watch the Big 12. Media Day started off today. I did see I saw all of Joey McGuire's, and I saw a little bit of Dion's. And then moving to Northeast Tennessee from the Houston area, I wanted to watch Houston. I didn't get to watch it, though, but I think Willie Fritz is one heck of a coach. And they've got a lot of talent. I mean, if you can recruit, within a 40-mile radius of the center of Houston, you're going to be good. And
they're going to challenge the old axiom that if you have great recruiting ground, you're always going to win.
They're going.
And that has not been the case recently. So it will be interesting to see how they go.
Tillman Fertitta, that's the big money behind that. I was there when Major Applewhite got fired because Tillman said 8-4 doesn't get it at Houston, pal, you're fired. And they went and made the big deal for Dana Holgerson. So just seeing Tillman's involvement as the spokesperson for the university, whether the university wanted him to or not, was fascinating as they got ready to go to the Big 12. So I think, Houston could be a sleeping giant because Willie Fritz is extremely underrated as a head coach. The man won everywhere he's been. And he even said today at the Media Dayz, the reason I came from Tulane to Houston is because I want to win a national championship, and we can win one in Houston, which, maybe a good soundbite, but I think the man believes it, and he's a good coach.
All right, I have one more for you, and then I'm going to let you sign out and getting on. You've been with me for 48 minutes, and boy, oh boy, normally I don't. My guests, if they stay long, they must really like it. I'm not chaining you down, so you could have left any time up to this point.
This has been great.
Let me do one more, and this is more of a field question. Let me post the link. I'm just going to read this. Brett McMurphy reported this quote today. Big 12 Commissioner Brett Yormark, Big 12 was the deepest and most competitive conference last year. I hate that. Can I just tell you that? I hate that. Also mentions last year's Big 12 title game drew more than 85,000 fans. What does that have to do with how good the Big 12 is in the nation? I don't know. It was the largest crowd. BYU was part of that, so I'm proud of that. But it really bothers me the way that he handles, and he's talking about this conference. If everybody's good, nobody's good. You have to have some schools that are striving to be better, right? So my question to you is a completely third party. You don't have a dog in the hunt. You see a quote like this, our conference was the best top to bottom. By the way, the last 2 years I've repeated that religiously. I've said that over and over, thinking that would bring its own future with it, and it hasn't done so. It's actually, I think it's ended up being, it promotes a lot of middling, and it doesn't really give advantages to people who are trying to go the extra mile to be successful. So what's your thoughts about a quote like this?
This is the first time that I've seen it. And boy, I don't know how he came up with that. My first thought is, and again, I have massive SEC bias, and the Big Ten's had our number at the top for the last, 3 years. So credit where credit's due. But I just believe that the SEC is the best conference top to bottom. I don't see how he came up with this. I seriously, could you help me understand? I respect Brett in his writing a lot, but how did he come up with this, Bomber?
Yeah, so Brett Yormark, the reason the Big 12 didn't have an identity when he joined the conference to be the conference commissioners. So there's two things he really bit into. First was the Big 12 is a great basketball conference. I'm a basketball guy. I come from the Brooklyn Nets. I come from these other experiences. I ran NASCAR. I know how to make things big. That was the idea. And he's done that for basketball. Basketball is a big thing. And the Big 12 is a great conference for basketball. But nobody cares about basketball. It's a college football world. And so the other thing he latched onto was the deepest, what's this quote? Deepest and most competitive. So what he's saying is top to bottom, the schools are closer together, which means you're going to get better teams, better games, and it's going to be more entertaining than you might get in a Big Ten that's maybe 6 or 7 brands deep, or the SEC the SEC's deep, but it doesn't go all 16 teams from top to bottom. No. So he's talking about a middling, right? Yeah. He's talking about we're the deepest, most competitive because these schools are closer together. I think the messaging needs to be different. In my opinion, messaging should be, we're striving to be the best college football conference we can. And that means we want the biggest brands and we want the best schools to shine out to be relevant in today's college football.
I think so. That helps me see a little bit. And again, if I'm the commissioner, I'm probably saying something similar, but I don't think with most college football fans that would hold water.
Yeah, I don't know. We've had people repeat it, and it's been something that like I said, I've done it religiously for years now, but I'm sort of over it. I don't want to be the most deepest and most competitive conference. I want BYU to win a national championship. I don't care what it's going to take to get there, and if that means you have to crawl over bodies in the Big 12 to do it, fine. But those schools should want the same thing. That's what frustrates me is why aren't we hearing this out of Iowa State? Why aren't we hearing this? There are people as passionate about college football in Kansas State, and Iowa State as anywhere in the country.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But where's the dog? Where's the fight in the dog? That's what I'm looking for. Why isn't everybody trying to rip out throats and destroy each other like they are in these other conferences?
That's a really good point. And I just think it's because schools have they have so many different goals and everything right now. It's to the analogy I made about the SEC spring meetings. It used to be everybody was pointed in the same direction, and they're not anymore. And you're seeing the same thing in the Big 12. But trust me, like the folks at Indiana and the job they did last year, they hear what you're saying. And I think the Big 12 would like a little bit of that.
Well, I'm telling you right now, BYU's doing everything they can to be in that group. Texas Tech is doing that. I think Utah would like to be there. They're still working on some of their funding, and they got the private capital, which we didn't have time to go into tonight. But I will have you back, and we'll talk about those passion projects of yours. We're just right now getting so close to the end of the summer. We'll probably have to do that. Maybe we can do a feature during the season or something.
Would love to do that. Obviously, I very much appreciate being on with you and your listeners, and would just encourage everybody to take a look at the Twitter site, Faux Jimmy Sexton, Agent Confidential. And if you're interested, the book is on Amazon, Kindle, and Audible. So again, thank you very much. Follow me on Twitter, and I will continue to follow you guys. It's been an honor being here, Bomber, and to you and your listeners. Thank you so much for having me. It's been a blast.
I appreciate it. It's great to meet you. And if there's anything I can do for you, don't hesitate to ask.
We'll do the same. Everybody have a great
Once I get your book, I'm going to read it and I will talk about it. All right.
It is. It's on the way. And after you do that, let's get back together and happy to answer any questions.
I'd love to. Thank you so much. He is Jimmy Sexton. That is Mike Sheldron. I appreciate you being here. Thanks. Have a great night.
Thanks. We'll talk to everybody soon. Thanks again.
Okay. All right. Bye-bye. Oh my gosh, that is awesome. You guys know I love good interviews. That was fantastic. I'm going to have him back. More of those SEC stories, I think, is really where I want to be. I love hearing those historical things. So thank you, Mike. It's great to have you here.
Okay, thank you.
And I hope everybody had some fun.
Difficult.
We'll see you later.
Getting out of your room.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine.
Okay, thanks.
All right. There we go. Okay. That was awesome. Thank you so much, Mike. Agent Confidential. Look him up on Twitter. Let me quickly. I can do this, right? How do I copy link to profile? I don't know why I didn't do that at the beginning. There's the link to his profile. I would recommend everybody go. I've got the book on the way. As soon as I read it, I'm going to come back and report. That should be a lot of fun. But anyways, very, very interesting insights. I love hearing other people's thoughts. You know, it's easy to be insulated in our little world, thinking about only our schools. So it's great to have third parties come in and give us an eval from top to bottom. Give me one sec. Okay, so you guys have been at it. Great comments tonight. I'm sorry I couldn't get to most of them. We went so long in the interview. I could have gotten to more comments. I apologize. Sometimes when I'm talking to somebody, I get lost in the interview and I don't get to as many comments. So I apologize about that. But I appreciate everybody being here tonight. Quickly, let's shout out people that I already do shout out, sorry, from the beginning of the show, but more comments that I've marked. Back to Bulldog, Mississippi. Thank you so much, Bulldog, for being a member. And I just want to encourage everybody. We did a change July 1st. We moderated and went to a $5, $4.99 model for our memberships. You guys all know the value of our memberships. We do member videos. We do live member shows. I'm going to do another one tomorrow night, live member show. Not sure on the title yet. It might be something like, what's next for the Big 12? I don't know. We'll have to see. But tomorrow night, I will be doing a members live show for an hour. Should be a lot of fun. And who knows, maybe I'll take calls only from members during that show. Anyways, to get into that and look at any of our member videos, become a new member, do what Bulldog Mississippi here has done. Next to the comment box on your screen, hit the little dollar bill, click it, you become a new member. Everybody, go and check your email. We have to have everybody re-sign. So if you've lost your membership, don't worry. We know who you are. You will always get credit where credit's due. But check to make sure that your membership hasn't lapsed, because some of those things happen and there's nothing we can do about it. Stupid YouTube. Anyway, so thank you, Bulldog. Appreciate you being here tonight. Let's see. Earl Carr, I already did. Good to have Earl here tonight. Get to a few more. Clint Moses is on it. Now, I want to get to this really quick, talking about Big 12 Media Days. Clint Moses, Oregon State super fan. Oregon State Beavers in the house. WSU new uniform patch is 5 years, $8.4 million. So just to be clear, the Big 12's $1.25 million for a year from Monster Energy. That's just the conference patch. That's not the patch that individual schools can do. Like Washington State is getting, what is that, roughly just underneath, 1.5 years. So I can't do the math. Anyways, almost $2 million a year. Washington State is getting for a patch. Can't remember who the vendor is. I saw that right before the show started. I think that's great for Washington State. A big Cougar fan. BYU hasn't come up with a patch. It will be interesting to see if the church decides to do one. If the church decides to do a patch, I don't know how I'd feel about it, actually. In fact, I don't think the church would do a patch. But if you were going to play in that world, any vendor could come along and give you $40 million a year, and they could underwrite your entire athletic department legally now. So think about it. Patches on uniforms is a backdoor to massive amounts of money going into your program, which right now can spend forever because the CSC has no teeth. So Washington State gets $8.4 million for 5 years. What is Ohio State going to get by having, I don't know, a Buckeye vendor of some sort gives them $100 million a year? I'm not saying they will, but it's another way to get money into a program, which just drives up these costs in college football. So I think it's great. Every school should get as much money as they can. I'm disappointed that the Monster Energy thing for the Big 12 is as low as it is, but it is money. It's always helpful. But it's not for the middle schools getting money. It's for the SEC schools to get hundreds of millions of dollars. It's for the Big Ten schools to get hundreds of millions of dollars. And it goes directly into their actually, they could direct it wherever they wanted to. They could put it to their NIL. They could put it to their operations. But patches on uniforms is just a backdoor to more unlimited money, kind of like the PAC in politics in the United States. Giving money to a PAC is unlimited funds to somebody you want to run for Congress or that wants to bankroll a run to the Senate. There is no limit. So it's great. I'm glad to hear that Washington State got $8.4 million. I don't know what BYU is going to get if they're going to do a patch. It would not surprise me. It will be interesting to see how much they get a year from a vendor. But think about it. It's just unlimited funds you could give to your school or your NIL. They could direct that money wherever they wanted to anyway. So thanks, Clint. It's great to see you tonight. Stephen Vitt in the house. Good to have you here, Stephen. University of Ohio. In case you didn't know, that would be the Bobcats. Hey, guys, how we doing tonight? Doing okay, Stephen. Thanks. It's great to see you. Old Dad, 75 years old. Okay, let's shout this guy out. Old Dad, 75. I finished my 75th orbit of the sun yesterday and can still get vertical. That is awesome. Things are going great. That is great to have you here, Old Dad. Thank you so much. Florida State in the house. They're on their way back this year. I think Florida State's going to be good. Are they going to challenge for the ACC? I don't know. But I can't wait for Florida State to be back. That's all I can say. Old Dad, happy birthday. And I'm sorry I missed it yesterday, but it's good to have you here tonight anyway. I appreciate it. Let's see. A couple more comments. Mark's Holy Grail, he did reply. Glad you don't support a breakaway. In my opinion, PCSA bill will not pass Senate without more changes, and the House won't pass without more concessions for athletes, but I think it has a chance with more changes. That's a fact. Mark's Holy Grail is right. The legislation isn't dead yet. It isn't dead yet, and they could make changes, and maybe they get it to pass. It's not going to pass the way it's currently written. I'll tell you that right now. That's just not going to happen. See if I can get to a few more comments. Shonsky, the Big 12 needs Oklahoma State and Baylor to start winning again. They need every school to start winning again. Shonsky, we just need wins in general. We just need wins. We need the conference to have 8 teams deep, teams that are challenging for the championship every year. Really, really do. Let's see here. Bulls fan, 2007 USF Bulls. That would be University of South Florida. Bulls fan, great to see you tonight. As much as I hate to say it, you need teams that dominate and teams that lose. The Big East from 2005-2013 had tons of parity. Look what happened to them. They got picked apart. Case in point. I agree, Bulls fan. I could not agree more. That's exactly right. Let's see here. Yeah, I appreciate that, Bulldog. I'm sorry that you had to re-up. It's the way YouTube works. But we know who you are, and we've got you. We've got your back. Let's see. Anything else? Look here. That would be Hall of Fame college football. Jason Watkins in the house. You guys got to go check him out on Twitter. Hall of Fame college football. Jason Watkins. Friend of the show, and I hope you're doing good, Jason. What's up, Bomber in chat? Good to see everyone on this fine Tuesday evening. Good to see you here, Jason. It's great to see you in the house, and you're doing okay. I've been liking and watching your videos, Jason, so keep it up. Just keep it up. We have a super chat came in the side door. I would say Ryan Willie, $5 super chat. Greg, the freezer won't buy Culver's after their sponsorship deal. I believe that he secretly likes cheeseburgers. So Minnesota. So we're talking about Wisconsin has a Culver's patch. Is that what that means, Ryan? I don't know the history on that, so you're gonna have to tell me if Greg won't eat Culver's because they're sponsoring Wisconsin. That would be great. I love that. That's a great rivalry thing. I think that's fantastic. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat, Ryan. Okay, I'm done talking. In fact, I've got no ability to talk, so I'm going to open up the phone lines. Let me get the banner up here so everybody has a chance to call in right now. Let's go here, and let me change this. Give me 1 second. Let me change the headline. Sorry. All right. Here we go. 801-899-6203. 801-899-6203. My phone line is open. Call in right now, and let's talk about the Big 12 Media Dayz. We can talk about the patches and how much money, how much revenue that might bring to your local school. What you think about the idea that it's really an unlimited way to give money. Here we go.
Call from
Hayden the Diesel Freak.
Hayden the Diesel Freak, always trying to be first in the house. Good to have you here, Caden. How you doing?
Nathan the Bomb3r's. How's it going on this beautiful Tuesday evening?
Hey, you know what? We're doing good. It was nice doing that interview with Mike. He's a very smart guy, and I appreciate him coming on and spending some time with us today.
Yeah, Agent Confidential on Twitter. Please check him out. I've seen some of his stuff on Twitter. It's pretty good. With the whole Big 12, explosion out in Dallas, with the whole Big 12 Media Dayz, with the whole Texas Tech shenanigans, and then Cincinnati getting involved. I mean, this is just another reason I've said before, Nathan, that this whole money corruption thing, especially with the Sorsby case, it's just one thing that's driving me nuts. And I don't know how many times I've said it on this show, but NIL money is a whole corruptive shenanigan ordeal that happens in the world of college football nowadays. It's terrible. And completely to be honest, Nathan, I'm glad I'm not a student athlete right now. I am glad I am not getting millions of dollars put to my name for free because I'm playing a dang sport just for this dang program.
You're a walking billboard.
It's not even just a walking billboard, Nathan.
Right. Uh-huh.
I mean, I literally heard this bullcrap. Me and my friends were talking about this for a little while, last couple of months, and it's like, a buddy of mine who used to play football when in high school said, money is a whole other game of corruption, and especially if it gets to college football, you start paying guys millions and millions, and then even billions or trillions of dollars just to come play for a school. You're handing him extra money to just,
Let's play devil's
gamble.
advocate here for a minute, right? Let's play devil's advocate. What kind of shoes do you wear?
The only thing I've ever worn are size 13 work boots.
No. So what's the brand of your boot?
It's Wolverine.
Okay, so somewhere on that clothing, on your boots, you have a Wolverine, whether it's on the base, right, that you walk on, or it's on the side in a patch. What's the difference between a Nike swoosh or an Adidas triple lines, and adding on top of that a Pepsi Cola or a Monster Energy? Why is one okay but the others aren't?
It's not it's not branding that's terrible. Like that aspect of it, Nathan. I don't know how to explain it, Nathan, to you. It's just I cannot understand it. Like I just seriously can't. It just makes me ponder why even college football is paying all these kids. And I get the brand deals, but it's like, listen, I'm not a loyal brand person.
Yeah, you are. Sure you are. You're a loyal brand to Ohio State Buckeyes. That's a brand. That's a brand, brother. That is a brand.
Yeah, but as a fan, but not as an athlete. There's the other thing.
Okay, so again, are the players going to play any worse or better if they have one particular patch versus another?
I mean, it really don't matter, quite frankly.
It doesn't really matter, right? So what does it matter if you had right here, there's a logo, and there's here a patch, and there's one down here? European soccer's been doing it for forever, and as far as I know, they don't change the way the game is played. The ball still has to go in the net.
Yeah. It's just, I prefer old school football.
That's fair. And look, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just playing devil's advocate to the idea that we think one brand isn't okay, but another brand is, when both of them are giving you money. Ohio State's gonna get money from brand stuff. They're not stupid. They're gonna sell a patch, probably for $100 million or something every year, but they're gonna sell a patch on their uniforms.
No, and I completely understand that, Nathan. It's just, I just prefer old school football. Even my buddies prefer old school football. If you're going to commit to a college and play ball, there should be just, okay, they pay for your scholarship and they pay for your equipment. That's it.
Okay.
I mean, that's how, the gladiators of the game, who are probably now in some of them are in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, had it that way. For example, Derek Brooks, Lawrence Sapp. Quite frankly, Randy Gradishar. I mean, Sean Taylor, Weapon X, Brian Dawkins. That's how, it should be. However, they've invested so much money into the players. It's just, I don't know. Maybe I'm just old-headed. I don't know from my age. I don't know.
Okay, very fair. I appreciate that. Good analysis. Anything else you want to say before I let you go?
Not much, but except it's always good hearing from you, Nathan, and always great conversations. I do want to remind everybody, if you are not subscribed to the College Football Mafia, please, I'm going to say this every show.
Get it done.
Subscribe to the College Football Mafia. You don't want to miss out on the great videos, including the live streams from Mullen After Dark, the Big Freaky Friday show, and of course Tuesday nights with Nathan Robert Brown in the Bomb3r's Blitz Collins show, or he might do it on Mondays or Wednesdays. You never know. Member only videos, member only live streams. I can say, quite frankly, we've been a member for 8+ months. It's been awesome, and connecting with Nathan and Mullen and everybody else. I mean, it's a great experience, and a happy belated 75th birthday to old Dad 75, our fellow Florida State fan.
Yes.
Obviously, Nathan, you can tell everybody they can find you on social media. I brought the announcement to you that I'm on Cameo. So if you know anybody with a birthday or something, but for today, I'm going to give old Dad 75 a little happy birthday shout out. Happy birthday to old Dad 75, everybody's favorite Florida State fan. You've went 75 years around the earth, and I know you'll go around for at least 20 more rounds with a Florida State tomahawk, chanting doing the Florida State chant. I guarantee you, a lot of your kids and grandkids are going to enjoy chanting that Florida State chant with a tomahawk. So, a happy birthday to old man 75. But Nathan, if anybody wants to find me, Twitter, it's K the Diesel Freak. YouTube, it's K the Diesel Freak. That's K the Diesel Freak. And then Cameo, which I can do birthday shout outs, everything else like that. It's K the Diesel Freak. So everything is K the Diesel Freak. I'm not on Facebook or Instagram, just so everybody's clear.
You're welcome to put those addresses in the comments if you want to. After the call, go ahead and put them in the comments box.
Yeah, so let me say it again. I'll put them in the link. I'll put the links, or Nathan, if you want, you can pull up my YouTube channel or Cameo or Twitter on the screen if you want. I mean, it works either way, so people can screenshot it if they're on their phone.
Yeah, why don't you just post the link so we can move on? But yeah, I appreciate that, Caden. Thank you very much for doing that.
And again, please subscribe to College Football Mafia. And I will say it again, if you had a question to me, that's Twitter, K the Diesel Freak. YouTube is K the Diesel Freak, and then Cameo for birthday shout-outs, motivational speeches, or anything else, or just a troll. A Team Up North fan or Texas A&M fan or a Texas fan, you can ask the baddest Buckeye on the planet. That's Caden the Diesel Freak on Cameo. So
Okay, thank you, Caden. I appreciate
Brown, it's always good to hear from you. As always, my friend, go
You
Bucks,
too.
go Cougs, and we'll talk to you next
Go
time.
Bucks, go Cougs. We'll see you later. Thank you so much. He is Caden the Freak. Oh, somebody just called and hung up. Call right back, please. 801-899-6203. 801-899-6203. Sorry, I think I hung up on you accidentally, so call right back. 801-899-6203. I'd love to talk to you. And then I just wanted to recognize that old dad said thank you to Caden, which is really, really class. That's a class act. Thank you, old dad. It's great to have you here tonight. So whoever was just calling, call back in right now. 801-899-6203. And yeah, let's hear what you have to say tonight on Talkback Tuesday.
Call from
Tawtown Hawk.
Tawtown Hawk here to cause trouble. How we doing tonight, man?
Oh, doing just fine. I've in honor of today, I've had 17 monsters, so I'm fired up and ready to go.
Okay, be careful. You might want to go to the ER right now, I think.
I'm telling you. Well, who's the coach that got fired from Houston a couple years ago? Dana, and I can't think of his last name.
Holgerson?
Holgerson.
Yeah.
You would think that if I'm glad that guy is not in the league anymore, because he probably would have thrown a fit, because if I remember right, that guy crushed Red Bulls during the games, like 5 or 6 of them at a time. And I just remember that. I was thinking, man, that guy's going to have heart palpitations on the sideline.
Yeah, no joke. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's a good point. I mean, you have some kid OD watching a football game. That would be not good. So
no, what
yeah.
You know, to that point, I know the church's stance kind of on the caffeine thing.
Yeah,
I think it goes probably double for drinks that are like, you know, putting 5,000% of the
so
regular dose in there.
So let me clear that up really quick. So it isn't about caffeine, and that was never a thing. It was a rumor. It was like urban myth in the early 80s that you couldn't drink Coke or Pepsi, right? Growing up my entire life, I heard that over and over from all these blue hairs in the church. You know, I grew up in the church, pretty active, and and every one of them, I would argue with these people in church. I would say that's not what it says. The word of wisdom says you're not supposed to drink hot drinks. So that would be teas or anything else that's hot that has caffeine in it. It does exclude hot chocolate. Don't tell me how.
Hot chocolate.
But tea is different. But it's a distinction without a difference to me. It all comes down to what your spirit is. If you feel like you're meeting the rule, that is really what's important, and the church is trying to reinforce that nowadays. So caffeine is actually not against the word of wisdom. It's about not putting unhealthy things into your body. So that could be anything, right? That could be OD on sugar. That could be anything that you're turning into an obsession or even an addiction. That's something that you want to avoid. So is caffeine addictive? Absolutely it is if it's overdone. But members of the church drink Diet Coke, and they drink Power. Oh, what am I thinking of? What's Red Bull? So this monster thing, I don't know if the church is going to let it on their patches. I don't know if they can say no, but it's not as big a deal as people might make it out to be.
Okay. So you're saying they may or may not be at the concession stand?
Well, they sell Coke, right? And Coke has caffeine in it too. So now we're not talking that it's not Coke and Monster drinks. What is the difference between those two things? They're both cold, and they both have stuff in them. How do you rule out one but not the other? I don't think drinking Monster drinks is against the word of wisdom. I don't think that's true. So now whether
you don't anticipate it being a problem. Okay.
I don't have a problem with it. I think it's a goofy advertisement. It's got the monsters, kind of like the WWE thing they did last year. I'm not so into that either, but I'm just asking in the open question to anybody who wants to answer it. Does the Big 12 not have any other options? We can clown on Brett Yormark for pulling up something like this, but at the end of the day, if nobody else is willing to pay more than that, I mean, do we just have to take what we can get? Do we think that Brett Yormark was saying no to $40 million?
But by the way, I didn't read, I didn't hear. What's the length on the term of the contract? Is it throughout the rest of the
it's
television contract?
Yeah, no, it is. Let me see if I can pull it up. Hang on. You keep talking, and I'm going to pull it up because I'll be able to.
Okay.
Landmark deal.
Well, that's
$20 million. It doesn't give me a term. Keep going. I'm listening.
okay. Well, it actually that's great information you gave, because I wasn't sure, to be honest, if that was going to have some sort of complication with the school taking the money, or whether or not they can or cannot put the patches on,
That's
or
an interesting
put the
question
emblem on
too.
the field.
Yeah.
I don't know if they would forego, and do you think the school might go ahead and forego it? If it's not that much money, if it's only $1 million, I can kind of see him passing on it. But then again, everybody trying to be inclusionary and all row in the same direction when it comes to that thing. I don't know.
It's in the Big 12, that's a great question. Whether you can, because let's talk about the private equity deal, right? That was optional. Nobody had to take the money, and nobody did take the money, which isn't a surprise. Actually, I was surprised there were a few schools I thought might take it because they had to, but neither here nor there. This is a little different, right? Because it's patches, it's the branding for the championship games and the tournaments, if they have them, like basketball, and then there's the fields. And this was a comment, and this conversation is fascinating to me. This was a comment because I have the smartest viewers on all of YouTube. Let's see here. Let me get this really quick. Oh my gosh, I lost it. I had it.
Well, the Phillips 66 emblems were all over the place for the basketball tournament.
They were
for years and years and years.
Yeah, the question is, can they turn them down and not take the money? I don't think they can.
Well, there are certain concessions that I believe the league has made to the school. Is this Sunday competitions one of the things, right?
That's true. Yep.
So I can see in their view, if they feel it violates the term of their morals or what they believe in, I can see them making an exception. Yeah, absolutely. And I have no problem with that, one way or the other. I think no matter what, sooner or later, you're going to be wearing a patch, whether it's this particular sponsor or another. I mean, it's like that everywhere. I mean, even I'm thinking of the Royals. The Royals wear the Quick Trip emblem. By the way, that was an amazing choice by them, because it's a great place to go get a drink, especially if you're living in Dallas. Shameless plug. But anyway, somebody's gonna, it's gonna be one or the other. I understand. It may not be the one that they prefer, but so you're gonna take the money.
It's interesting because and I can't show it because if I do it, I might lose you, and I don't want to do that. But I posted the link to another article. This one is in the Sports Business Journal, I think. Let me just read, and you're just going to have to. Hopefully, I can express what this paragraph says, and you can understand it.
Okay.
Around half of the Big 12 16 members have deals with Pepsi. That would be Colorado, Kansas State, Kansas, TCU. Any required activations that would be part of the conference's agreement with Monster, which is partially owned by Coca-Cola, could thus create issues around exclusivity within those contracts. The same conflicts exist with Nike and Adidas, and I think Under Armour is also in the Big 12. So this is not a unique problem. We have these competing advertising campaigns, which size of the logo on your jersey, how big it is on a 25-yard line on their football field, what's sitting in the middle of your basketball tournament court, things like this. I don't know how they have to be able to rectify those conflicts, because everybody approved this deal. Every one of the Big 12 conference approved it. Everybody voted for it. So that tells me that in some way, shape, or form, they're going to have to justify these differences.
Well, I think there's actually a happy medium in there, and I think places have gone to this, especially you've seen it with the graphics on the basketball games more and more, where they overlay just a graphic through the television on the screen on the court. I've seen that done once or twice. I can see them doing that instead of having it physically there. Maybe would appease them in some way, but again, if it's not going to be one, it's going to be the other.
It's interesting here too, to Town Hawk. You can keep going, but I just wanted to tell you, the reason I don't know how long the deal is because they haven't advertised how long the deal is. We don't know how long
I would
the deal
bet it's probably like a look and see.
Like run it a year or two and see how it works.
Run it a year or two, see what kind of results they get, and if that's the case, maybe renegotiate or an option to
I could see
extend.
that.
And
I could see that.
I know we're milking every dollar and penny in that. I listened to your guest, and there was a cause for concern about the lack of it wasn't enough, and it wouldn't be enough for the SEC or the Big Ten to pick up the phone. I did catch that comment, but here's the thing: we're trying to compete, we're trying to catch up in whatever way you can. With athletic departments probably getting streamlined in this league comparatively to the Big Ten and the SEC.
Right.
You've seen that. You've read that even with the influx of private capital at Utah, with the elimination of some positions. They're moving some people over to the whatever that
the new LLC for the private capital.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But they did mention in there that some people would be going over, and then some would just be elimination of jobs,
yes.
Which I understand. But to that point, how people operate in the Big 12 isn't necessarily how you need to operate in the SEC, nor is the additional funds after a certain point a good return on investment. And the point in fact being this: you remember a couple of years ago they had a big article, and I can't remember exactly how many people it was, but University of Florida was basically bragging about having the most football personnel in the SEC, and it was some ungodly, ridiculous number, like 134. It was something like 134 professional staff,
right.
Via all the facets, graduate assistants, all the people in production, helpers for the team. But what did it yield in results? At some point, you're not going to get any benefit towards that. And that's the same reason. I have that same exact attitude when it comes towards the amount of revenue that the teams are taking in. At some point, you say, oh well, Ohio State, they're going to make $700 million next year. I don't think that's going to change the competitiveness of their team versus if they're making what they're making now at $200 million. I don't see them getting any marginal additional benefit over the competition.
Okay.
So what that means for the Big 12 schools, you don't have to make $90 million a year. If Alabama's making $90 million a year, that's great. If we're making somewhere, I don't know what that number is, 55 to 60, are you able to put on a competent product? Are you able to compete at least on the first team level, which you and I both know SEC teams, they can overpay for whoever they want, and great. If they're paying $4 million for a backup defensive end, that's great for them. That may not be necessary in the Big 12. maybe you've got a young guy who's out of high school that you recruited. He's on the 2 or 3 deep, or you have just like I like to think of it, the money ball, the value buys, right? So you're looking at guys that can give you rotational snaps, but come in for a decent dollar amount to let you manage your cap or manage your budget. Because there's no cap, sorry. But I see that there's going to be a magic number. Now, I don't know what that is. I'm certain there are certain coaches and certain athletic directors in the Big 12 that have an idea what that is. I don't think that it's a hard target because there's no hard cap on what SEC and Big 10 are doing with their collectives for the additional NIL money that's really, roster money coming from boosters. But we'll see. I think in the next 5 years it's gonna come in.
Yeah, you know how I feel about that though, right? There's nothing stopping mega boosters coming in and helping Kansas doing the exact same thing.
Point of fact, we got a one-time donation.
You did
$300 million.
You did. You got a lot of money, and there's nothing stopping every school from mining their graduates for money to underwrite an athletic program. There's nothing stopping people donating massive amounts of money to your school. So I don't like the idea that
much
there's
more towards
any
that
limit.
than taking it out of the student fees. I agree with you there. I
agree.
I think you can hammer the alumni as much as you want, but don't add in a $500 additional fee that says student XYZ NIL fund contribution.
So how do we balance it out then? Is there any way to moderate? Is there any way to balance things out, or is it gone so far there's no way this comes back?
Well, I think part of it is having enough of a timeline. So part of it's going to take 4 or 5 years, I think, of additional results. And I think what people start yielding or not yielding in results is what's going to rein it back in.
If you win, you're going to get money. If you win, you're going to get money.
If you win, you're going to get money.
Yeah.
If you spend a ton and don't,
right?
I know for a fact, Florida State fans, for example, are seething, right, with what they've gotten out of their team the last couple of years.
Well, Oklahoma State could say
talking
the
about
same thing.
Oh yeah, well,
yeah.
I think they're not. They bought an entire new team in the offseason, right?
Sure.
Pretty much.
Well, you have to if you're going to compete. Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see how that shakes out. But what I think comes down to is the lack of results with the mega budgets. The coaches are going to have a much shorter leash. The donors / alumni are going to demand results on a faster timeline, and I don't think the coaches want to be in that sort of an environment. I know the coaches are going to be pushing the ADs, and they're begging them right now for some sort of enforceable cap so they don't have to worry about protecting their roster during the season, which is, that's a horrible thing in and of itself. Is you can't concentrate on the task you're supposed to do at hand. You're already worried about next year. But we'll see. I don't see Congress being the solving. I think it's going to be they're going to have to run it up until they don't get anybody giving them money anymore. I'm sorry about that. You can probably hear my dog in the background.
That's okay. Yeah. You're wrapping up anyway. It's no big deal.
Yeah. Well, so other than that, did everybody enjoy the soccer game yesterday?
No, I did not. I did.
The one today was pretty good, though.
I haven't watched any today, so don't tell me who played. But no, the U.S. so much promise. You know,
Well,
you gotta
look at it this
play
way.
defense. You got to play.
It wasn't a heartbreaker. It wasn't a heartbreaker because it wasn't even close.
No, and
that
Belgium
made it a lot easier for me to swallow.
Belgium's like a top 6 best team in the world. So I mean, what are we talking about here? The U.S. was shooting over its laces anyway. So, all right, I'm going to let you go.
Sounds good.
Great to have you here to Town Hawk. Thank you so much for calling in.
Great show tonight. Great guest.
Thank you.
Keep it going.
All right,
Nate.
All right, we'll talk to you later. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
He is to Town Hawk. Thank you so much for calling. I appreciate it. I love hearing from you.
Call from
Evil Badger.
Evil Badger Ryan Willie is back-to-back on calls tonight. Appreciate it so much. Thanks again to Town Hawk for calling in. Thanks, Caden the Diesel Freak, from calling in earlier. What's on your mind tonight, Ryan?
Hey, Nathan. Thanks for taking my call. I understand where a kid is coming from with the patches and all that.
Okay.
But because I was kind of like him like 20 years ago, I didn't want any patches on any uniforms or the painting on the field or the logos or anything like that.
Right.
But after seeing NASCAR's, the fighter suits are covered with patches for their sponsors and all that.
Okay.
And it's money for the schools, and eventually it'll trickle down to the players. I just think
don't
that's
know.
a big.
I don't know if it's.
Huh?
It all depends how the school takes the money and what they do with it. I don't know if it goes to the players or not. There's some gray areas in there. I think it's still up in the air whether that money that's given to the schools could be turned around and put into an NIL fund for the athletes. I think that would be the best use of the money, in my opinion, not even put it in to your school at all. I would just take any money I got from the conference and I would just put it into my NIL and MMR organizations. That's what I would do.
Right.
So, because Wisconsin, do you know what your budget is? You guys are around $250 million for your athletic budget. I'm just guessing. I can't remember what it was, but you're over $200 million, right?
I think we're about $100 million for. I'd have to Google.
Oh, you don't have to. I was just curious if you knew off the top of your head. Regardless, the school's getting all kinds of money for their general athletic budgets, right? So if you're running a school and you can put that money wherever you can, and again, I admit there might be a gray area in there that they don't allow the money to go directly to athlete NIL or MMR groups, but if you're running your school, why don't you let the school run the school, and any other money that comes in, why not immediately put it into your athletes? Because you're talking about $50-60 million football rosters now.
Right. And I am kind of excited about the fact that they are putting more money into the sports for Wisconsin, because otherwise we'd be like Minnesota at the bottom. Well, this year will be better in Minnesota, but and then next year, playoff in 2027. Not this season, but next season.
So, Bulls fan did some research for us. Wisconsin Athletic Department budget for 26-27, $203 million, and I guessed 250. So I was pretty close, I think. So $200 million is you go into your athletic general fund, right? That's a big cost. You're not really making money on that. If I had to guess, your expenses, Bulls fan, maybe do that research too. What is their net between expenses and income? But you are also getting $75 million from a media deal, right? So you're getting money other schools and conferences don't have access to.
Right.
So I think you guys, I would love to see Wisconsin. Did you put Culver's? Is that a real deal? Is that,
Yeah.
do you guys have a Culver's patch?
Yeah, they did a video with some of the basketball, football, and men's hockey are gonna have patches on their uniforms.
That's cool. I think that's great.
I don't know how much the deal is worth. It wasn't announced, and I don't think it'll ever be announced.
Yeah, maybe not. I could see. Yeah, I don't know why all these deals are published. It's great to see the numbers, but it would be nice if some stuff was hidden. I know this at BYU, there's stuff they don't tell people. So unless it's required legally, they're not going to tell you how much they spend on X, Y, or Z. So, it's not anybody else's business as far as I'm concerned. Anyway,
well, Wisconsin being a public school,
yeah, it's a different. Yeah,
that's different.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So, so your final word on patches for Wisconsin football on the field and on your athletes tomorrow. You're okay with those, or you're not into that so much?
Well, I am now, but 20 years ago I wasn't.
Yeah, I feel that. Yeah.
It just bring more money into the athletic department, and hopefully help them spend money to bring in the good players that we need, because we can't allow Minnesota to be better than us.
Okay, I want both you and Minnesota to be good. I want your rivalry game every year should be to get into the Big Ten championship game. Let's go. I'm cheering for you, Ryan.
Thank you.
Okay, hey, one more thing. Let me just another point of fact, and this has always been the case for people that don't follow finances. It's only come out in the last few years. They're so public, but athletic departments in general for decades have never made money. They're not supposed to be a profit centers. They're to support the Olympic and women's sports, and then to keep college football teams running. And last year, Wisconsin is a fine example of that. They only made roughly $4 million net. So that is by design.
Well, the fans didn't go to the games because we kind of stunk. But I think things are looking up this year and in the future, so I'm hoping that it'll turn on quick.
I'm hoping for you too, Ryan. I appreciate you coming in.
Well, thank you for taking my call.
Thank you. It's great talking to you.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
He
Bye.
is Ryan Willie, the Evil Badger, in the house. Thank you so much. Ryan's a super fan. I don't know what just happened. I hope you can hear me. The audio just sort of went bongzo. Let me know if you can't hear me. But yeah, I think that patches are a foregone conclusion. So everybody just needs to get used to them, in my opinion. I am taking ideas, and here's one from Mark's Holy Grail. I'm taking ideas for a members live show tomorrow night. I've been bantying around ideas in my head. If you're a member, leave a comment on the show. I will go back and read it later if I don't get to it tonight. But I'm doing a live show tomorrow night, and I'm looking for ideas. Here's an idea for Mark's Holy Grail, who's also a valuable member of the College Football Mafia family. My idea for your members show is take calls and chats on what, if anything, would members be willing to boycott in 2026 to proactively prevent a P2 breakaway super league that your school is not invited to. That's a story problem. I'm not good at math, Mark, but I think I can see through that. So what would I be willing to give up, boycott, to stop a Super League P2 breakaway? I don't know. I'd have to think about that. I'm not sure what I'd be willing to give up. I wish I wouldn't have to give up anything, but I understand what your challenge is. I don't know. I have to think about that. Thanks, Mark. I appreciate the idea. Anybody else, if you have an idea, put it in the comments to the show. Leave it in your comments right now, or you can always send me a DM on Twitter. You find me on Twitter at Bomber_College Football Mafia. Make sure you put that 3 in there instead of the R. We do a lot of good work around here. If you're watching on X, make sure you follow and subscribe on YouTube. Go to YouTube, go to College Football Mafia, and hit the subscribe button. If you ask any members in the chat, and again, I got a bunch of members here tonight. Mark's Holy Grail, see that little symbol next to his name? Means he's a member of the College Football Mafia. To become a member, hit the dollar bill next to the comment section. Comment box, and you can become a new member of the College Football Mafia family. Let's see here. Tempest in the house. Good to see you, Tempest. Hello, Bomber. It's great to see Tempest back in the fold. And here we go. Again, another fine example. Thank you so much, Tempest, becoming a renewed member of the College Football Mafia family. Tempest has been an OG member forever. If you were a member and you've lost your tag, you will have to reapply, resubscribe, I should say, because we changed to a $1 amount for all of our memberships. We flattened it out to $5 for all the member benefits, all the special symbols and emotes you get next to your name. In the comment section, in the comments on the box, in the comments next to your name, it says special emotes and whatnot next to it. Mo one can explain it better. But it's mostly our member shows and member shorts that we reveal special insight onto how college football runs, realignment, legislation, all kinds of stuff. Legal issues, we cover all of it. And so thank you so much, Tempest, for becoming a renewed member of the College Football Mafia family. He says, got it. I was wondering what was going on with my membership. Yeah, thank you for asking. And becoming, re-upping and doing that, Tempest. Yeah, it for some reason, it won't let everybody just continue their membership when we change to a one membership model. Makes us reapply. And all I can say is I hate it that you have to do that, but I'm glad to have you back regardless. Thank you so much for that. All right, I'm going to take one more call. So if you want to call in right now, 801-899-6203, 801-899-6203. Otherwise, super chats from here forward. If you want to leave a comment, I've got already some comments marked. I'll go for about 10 more minutes if nobody calls. But if you want your comment to be read to the end of the show, make it a super chat. Again, just hit the dollar bill next to the comment box on your screen, and you can leave a super chat, and I read all those, regardless of who you are, what time of day. Bulldog, Mississippi, also a member of the College Football Mafia family, saying cancel all streaming subscriptions and pirate everything, I guess. You can't really boycott a college. It's partially funded with your tax dollars, right? Yes, that is facts. Bulldog, Mississippi. You can't really, unless you're a private school, your state institutions now are getting your tax dollars one way or the other. It's happening. It's just not codified in a lot of states. In other words, it's not written into a law. But yes, money is going to your athletic departments out of your state legislatures. So all your taxes you're paying is helping underwrite your state schools already. And in some cases, it's to many, many millions of dollars a year. I would tell you, if you don't like that, get active in your community and try to find out why that is. It certainly doesn't help BYU when state schools get money and BYU doesn't. But we get money from other things, so I'm certainly not complaining. Let's see here. Some more comments I got marked. I want to make sure I get to them. Again, I'm taking one more call. Somebody wants to call in. 801-899-6203. Go Black 45 is my hero. I love his name. Fantastic. Go Black 45 is always here. Is a valuable member of the College Football Mafia family. That Memphis FedEx money for $250 million is looking better all the time now. See, I still don't. It isn't for me, Go Black 45. It isn't for me. But I understand why there's schools in the conference that might be saying, hey, we want some of that money. It's funny, though. You let them in, $250 million. Is the Big 12 going to give, we're talking about the Big 12 now, is the Big 12 to give Memphis that membership, that valuable membership to an autonomous conference, if they do that, you're not going to get a check for $20 million every school or whatever it would work out to be. They'll give you money, but they'll give it over the period of like 5 or 7 years. You might get another $1 million a year. So is that really bringing in what you want? No, it's a net lose. And we know that because we've done the math. Wild Ute's done the math. Many, many shows. If you're a member, for that matter, a non-member, you can go back and into our video library and see that math as it works out. It isn't that big of a deal. $1 million used to be a big deal. It's not a big deal anymore. So, good comment, though. Appreciate it. Go Black 45. And I have to get to this from him as well. I just can't wait for the MGM Grand patch on Texas Tech uniforms. See, that's funny. I love that. That's comedy right there. That's absolutely comedy. Thank you so much, Go Black 45. It's great to see you tonight. Kalani, another super fan of the College Football Mafia family. Good to have him here. Kalani says European soccer kits are designed to have a large corporate logo on the front. That's not the case with football uniforms, thus the squeezing a patch in on the right shoulder. Very true. Soccer, and I could grab one of my Liverpool jerseys and show you how their advertising is done. It's different. It is different in European soccer, but it's still money that goes to the organization, right? So shouldn't you be able to sell that real estate? It's your property. You own your brand. As far as I'm concerned, you should be able to do whatever you want with your uniforms. Do I want them to look like Mexican soccer jerseys? Probably not. That's like 12 patches or something. Mexican soccer is a different level for branding. South America soccer as well. But anyway, yeah, Kalani's got the thread right there. Jay Chapman earlier said, does this mean the patches will be on store-bought merchandise? That's a great question, Jay Chapman, and it's not answered in the articles I posted. This was the last one. Again, this is the Sports Business Journal. Very, very reputable group. Post a link to that. Read it yourself. There's a bunch of unanswered questions. We don't know how long the deal is supposed to go. We don't know really where the branding is all going to be on merchandise. To get on basketball and football jerseys is one thing, but to make it onto everything a school sells, like hoodies or mugs or hats, or does Monster have to be on all those things too? $1.25 million for your school for the entire year is nonsense, in my opinion. It's really stupid. C. John 3006. Just remember, Big 12 is promoting Monster, and while Monster is promoting Big 12 in their national, international events, X Sports, snowboard, skate, motocross, etc., Indy, NASCAR, PBR. I don't know the answer to that, C. John. The Big 12 is promoting Monster. I'm not sure Monster is promoting the Big 12. How would that work? Because they're like Red Bull. They do advertising across a myriad of sports. Are you going to see Big 12 logos on motocross? I don't know. Those are good questions. I don't have the answer. A lot of those details haven't been released. A lot like the Pac-12 media deal. Did you guys see that, by the way, yesterday? Pac-12 media deal. Let me see if I can find it. Give me 1 second. This is completely unscripted. Let me see if I can find. Give me 1 second. Nobody wants to call in. I want to talk to you somebody for a second. 801-899-6203. 801-899-6203. Let me see if I can get to it. Gould, who is the conference commissioner for the Pac-12, came out. Here it is, right here. Oh, let me get to this video.
Call from
Jason.
How we doing?
What's going on?
on, Farmer? How are you?
I'm doing well. I can barely hear you. Are you doing something?
I don't know. I'm outside, but I thought that the microphone would work.
No, I'm hearing something like somebody's eating your phone or something.
Okay, hold on. Let me grab that other earphone.
Jason called me from the tunnel.
I didn't mean to do it. No,
I don't know. It feels like you're packing things or something.
Okay, well, I'll just catch you later, though.
Well, call me back. Maybe it's the connection.
Okay, let me try one more time.
All right. That was weird. Did you guys hear that too? Put your hand up if you heard that. I mean, it's like, seriously, it was like Pac-Man was in the background or something. I'd love to talk to Jason. I'd love to have him call back in. The phone line's open, Jason, so you can call. Jason Watkins maybe isn't going to call. Call back, Jason. All right. While I'm waiting for that, I can get to this. I can't switch it. So, Jason, if you're going to call back, or put in the comments maybe if you're going to call back. Because I absolutely could not hear you. I'm sorry. Was he on a horse in a wind tunnel? I don't think he's Jesus. Bad connection to Town Hawk says. All right, Jason hasn't called me back, so I'm going to get to this. I'm going to get to this interview. So this is from John Canzano. Oh, here he is. He's back.
Call from
Jason.
All right, Jason.
You better?
No, I don't know what's going on. It seriously sounds like you're getting eaten by
I'm
Pac-Man
kind of
or
away.
something.
I'm away from the house. Well, I'm away from the house, so it's kind of spotty out here. You just never know.
Okay, wait, right there. Right there. I can hear you now. Go ahead.
Oh no, I just wanted to call in good show topic. I guess I wanted to hear what you feel about it. Feels to me like you need to add as much revenue to this thing as possible. You know, as far as stay competitive. But something somebody said in the comments earlier about you need a couple of teams or one team to dominate. I was more in agreement with what you said. I think everybody needs to be really good to make the league strong. Yeah. Otherwise, you just start the SEC and Big Ten can pick them off whenever they feel like.
Well, there's no doubt about it. I mean, the Big 12 needs to get to the playoff and win some playoff games. The only way you're going to do that is to have some elite teams.
True.
It's not by everybody being 9-3, right?
No, but whatever it is, you got to get there and be strong when you get there, right? You got to be able to play and win some games. You're right. I think you got to win some games. I don't know that you have to necessarily win an national championship, but it certainly wouldn't hurt to be a semi-finalist or something.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. I'm losing you again, Jason. I'm sorry. Call in.
It's all good, buddy.
Call in tomorrow night on the members show. I'd love to talk to you then.
We'll do, bud.
Okay, we'll see you later. He is Jason Watkins. I'm sorry you couldn't hear him. He's fantastic. He has his own show, Hall of Fame College Football. Look him up on Twitter and on YouTube. Jason Watkins does a fantastic job, and he was a mentor to me when I was getting started, gave me a bunch of help, and I really, really appreciate him. So, Jason, it's great to talk to you. I'm sorry I could barely hear you. It was tough for the viewers, I think, to hear you. So, anyways, thanks for calling in, Jason. It's great to hear from you. And, yeah, think about calling in tomorrow night. Or just, just call me on my cell phone. Just call me and let's talk. I always like to talk to Jason. The eye patch sounds like he's running a phone over his face. Yeah, I don't know what that was. I just know this. Jason's a hard worker, and it sounded to me like he was out working. All right, I'm going to get to this video now. John Canzano. Let me post the link to the video. There we go. John Canzano, we're going to share this And this is from him. We're giving him credit for this. Let me
all money is green.
run.
All money is green.
Okay, so to set this up, John Canzano's interviewing Gould, who happens to be the Pac-12 commissioner, and she is talking about releasing or not releasing the Pac-12's media valuations and what the schools are going to be making media dollars wise, and how that appearance is something that they think they don't want to share those numbers is inappropriate. You guys tell me what you think of this reasoning from the commissioner of the Pac-12.
All money can be spent. I personally think, number one, that it's incredibly inappropriate to be releasing numbers of agreements that we have with media rights partners that are very complex.
Everybody has been focused on, what is the Pac-12 getting from media distributions? Is there a strategy in not letting that number out? Help us understand why everyone is so secretive about this. It seems that this is being held close to the vest.
Yeah, well, look, I think there's a long kind of history in our business of a lot of folks, whether it's the media, whether it's, industry people, kind of focusing in on media rights numbers. And I would say a couple of things. Number one, media rights are one piece of the overall distribution, right? All money is green. All money can be spent. I personally think, number one, that it's incredibly inappropriate to be releasing numbers of agreements that we have with media rights partners that are very complex and have rights fees included, have market.
Okay, I can't do it anymore. I absolutely cannot do this anymore. Her talking makes my skin crawl. Bob Thompson, everybody knows, friend of the show, Bob Thompson, retired president of Fox Sports, creator of the Big Ten Network. So Fox Sports, meaning NFL, meaning college, everything. Bob Thompson saw this quote and heard the video interview and says, okay, it's not that complex and it's not that hard. If you're a friend of this show, if you've been watching us for almost 4 years, we've broken it down into minute detail. It's not complex. We're no geniuses. There's no secret formula to understanding where the money's coming in or going. And I just made up my mind of what I'm going to do tomorrow on my live show is going to be this. This is going to be the members live show. And I'm going to dive into why this is nonsense. I'm going to tear this thing apart because I think the Pac-12 is having a disservice. And I feel, again, I hate this. I'm feeling bad again for Washington State and Oregon State. I was just starting to get over that. They're starting to get their feet back underneath them. The Pac-12 starting to grow back. And then you have a conference commissioner here who is acting like everything she's saying is some secret formula. What's ridiculous about this is when the numbers come out for these state schools next year, they have to declare how much their media valuations are. It's going to be declared in their tax filings next year. They're public schools. Everything they do is going to be transparent. This is stupid to come out and try to hide this. What does this tell you about the Pac-12 media deal? This is why I didn't bring this up earlier tonight, because I could go on this for 10 hours. This is ludicrous. She's treating everybody like they're stupid. Pac-12 fans are not stupid. There are not fans that are stupid in Washington State or at Oregon State or at Boise State. 3 programs that I guarantee you are trying to get in the college football playoff every year by spending max dollars. Everything they can. And the rest of the Pac-12 is going to have to fight to stay up with them. And I want that. I want San Diego State to fight. I want Utah State to fight. You guys have something to fight for. You're trying to be that 5th power conference, even though I think that's dead. But for them, they need to fight for this. And I support the fans and the schools that are working hard to fight for it. Hiding your media values, hiding the secrets of these negotiations it's just so stupid. And Bob Thompson offered to help Gould. Hey man, give me a call. I'll explain these media valuations to you if it's too complex for you to understand. He didn't say that word for word, but he's like, this is stupid. This is so stupid. I just had to get to that tonight. I'm sorry, you guys. That was definitely a bomber rant. I didn't mean to. I wasn't going to go there tonight. I really wasn't going to go there tonight, but I just couldn't handle it. I just couldn't. I just could not handle. It's all about money. We've been talking about how many shows did we do 3 years ago? What's the Pac-12 going to get for a new media dollar? For their new media deals. How much are they going to get? We've talked about it forever. Is it 5 million? Is it 7 million? Is it 8 million? I've always said it's 7 to 10 million. The Pac-12's talked about it like it's going to be $15-20 million. That is an absolute lie. In my opinion, it is an absolute obfuscation of the truth. I'm going to have to talk to Moen about getting a Moen rant or a bomber rant button. By the way, if you guys didn't see it, hang on 1 second. Let me see if I can show it to you. First, let me turn off the rain and cash. I love this so much. I'm going to do a whole show one day with just that rain and cash thing going. Let me show you this background. I'm going to disappear for a second. Hang on. Isn't that the kick-ass background you've ever seen in your life? You see that these are Seattle Seahawks colors. And it's all about football and Bomb3r's Blitz. Thank you so much, Moen. I really appreciate you. And you put that together, and that was a treat. I wasn't expecting that today. All right. I think I'm done. I took a bunch of calls. I got you guys amped up. Let's get to a few more of your comments before we get out of here. First, let's get to Tempest, who says, like, subscribe, and join the club. I would add to that, join the family. Join the College Football Mafia family. We do good stuff around here. We've had a fantastic offseason. We're building to the preseason of the next college football 2026 season coming up. We are going to preview conferences here in the next near future. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to talk about all the conferences in general, all the autonomous conferences, and then the G6. We will cover all of those. Should be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to those shows. To Town Hawk says, hashtag it's complicated. I'm sorry, it's just too funny. She's treating Pac-12 fans like they're idiots. And I don't appreciate that at all. So Town Hawk, $2 super chat. Memphis sports effort plus bribe deserves Big 12 entry. To Town Hawk says he wants FedEx money for his Kansas Jayhawks. I can see that. Go Black 45. I think 3 patches is enough. 1 on each shoulder pad and 1 on the back of the helmet that doesn't cover up the school logo. I love all of that. 2 years ago, Coach Deion Sanders tried to put on a QR code. And I don't know if it was the NCAA or it was the Big 12 that told him no. I would do a QR code. I think that's brilliant. On the back of the helmet, I would do a QR code that goes directly to your NIL. That's what I would do. But nobody's asking me. And then Go Black also says Army of 48 breakaway. 48 breakaway, I'm fine with that as long as it's just not straight up Big 10 SEC going to 24 teams. I think there's a 48, you get to the best 48 brands. I'm kind of okay with that, but I'm not sure I'll Go Black 45 is actually advertising this, so I'm going to skirt over it. But that's another, it's another good idea. Let's see here. Any more comments? I had Devil Frog coming in. The OG College Football Mafia family member, Devil Frog, saying SCOTUS ruled that states can ban dudes in woman face from competing against women. Thoughts? I have no opinions about this. Certainly nothing I'm going to be sharing on the channel. I think everybody has to make up their own mind. Families are comprised of all kinds of people, and I'm not gonna judge. Certainly not going to talk about it on the show. But Devil Frog, thanks for asking the question. I'm just not going to share my thoughts on it. Buckshot Kid checking in, always saying, "Oh, hey," at the College Football Mafia, saying, "Hey, Bomber, patches in this is the gateway to advertisements on the field." Yes, it is. It's the gateway to projected advertisements that only TV viewers can watch, which is what they have for Formula One right now. Virtual signage. It's coming. It's coming, Buckshot Kid. I promise you. One day, maybe a rivalry game, all of a sudden something's going to flash on a TV screen that people in the stadium can't see, and that's going to be advertising. It's coming. I'm telling you. It is coming. All right. One more here. Town Hawk says Kansas is refusing to go back to the cellar. Expect us to go bowling. Also, I expect Colorado to have a shockingly good offense. Wow. Calling a shot, previewing the 2026 Big 12 college football season for Kansas and Colorado. It would be interesting to do our season previews. I'm looking forward to that. All right. I think that's what we're going to call it. Thanks, everybody, for watching tonight. If you missed the beginning of the show, I want you to check out the person I interviewed. And I'm sorry, I've already forgotten. I want to make sure I get his name so everybody knows. He is Agent Confidential. Let me show this so you can see. I had him on the show. Very, very fun interview. There we go. Mike Chaudron. I didn't get that right. Chaudron. Anyways, he knows how to say his name. Fantastic interview. We talked about Big 12 Media Dayz and other things, business, college football. I would encourage you guys to follow him on Twitter and subscribe to anything that he might have on YouTube. Agent Confidential, he wrote his own book. I would recommend it. Look him up. Agent Confidential, Mike Chaudron was on the show earlier. Great interviews. All right, everybody. I think that's going to be it. I hope you have a great night. I recognize anybody that's new. Make sure you jump over on YouTube, go to College Football Mafia and hit the subscribe button. We are building subscribers, pushing towards 7,000 subs, and we could use your help. So if you're new and convert those views on X over to YouTube, and then leave your comments and questions, hit this like, subscribe, and become a member of the College Football Mafia family. I will see you guys tomorrow night for the next member live show. It should be an hour, and I might take calls from members. That should be a lot of fun. Live show tomorrow night, and we're going to talk about this stupid Pac-12 thing. I'm just going to preview it one last time because I just can't walk away from this and not do it. I mean, this is asinine. You are stupid football viewers.
All money can be spent. I personally think, number one, that it's incredibly inappropriate to be releasing numbers of agreements that we have with media rights partners that are very complex.
Everybody has been focused on, what is the Pac-12 getting from media distributions? Is there a strategy in not letting that number out? Help us understand why everyone is so secretive about this. It seems that this is being held close to the vest.
Yeah, well, look, I think there's a long kind of history in our business of a lot of folks, whether it's the media, whether it's, industry people, kind of focusing in on media rights numbers. And I would say a couple of things. Number one, media rights are one piece of the overall distribution, right?
Yep.
All money is green. All money
Yep.
can be spent.
Right.
I personally think, number one, that it's incredibly inappropriate to be releasing numbers of agreements that.
Is she your grandma, Pac-12 fans? Is Commissioner Gould your grandma or your parents who decide they're not going to share how much they make with you because it's inappropriate? We don't talk money in this house. Are you that stupid, Pac-12 fans? Well, let's find out what else she says.
That we have with media rights partners that are very complex and have rights fees included, have marketing commitments included. They're not simple agreements. But I would also say, in addition to the confidentiality of the agreements that we've signed with our media rights partners, we prefer to focus on our entire business enterprise and the overall number that our members will get at the end of the first year, FY27. That is really the more important number than the media rights number specifically.
Okay, I'm going to leave you guys with that. I love this. Tempest says, is she high? Maybe she is high. I don't know even what to make of that. We're going to talk about it tomorrow night. Tempest is a member of the College Football Mafia family. So is, let's do some people. Bulldog Mississippi, who says, great show, is a member of the College Football Mafia family. We've got Town Hawk has been a member. I think he just needs to renew. Shooter Texas, Baylor Bear in the house. The Pac-12 just needs to rename that to the State 12, Oregon State, Washington State, Texas State, Colorado State, etc. That's funny. Shooter Texas, Baylor Bears. Are they going to be better in 2026? We'll talk about that. Let's see. More members that are watching. Stephen Pitts coming in. Is also a member of the College Football Mafia family. I personally do not believe the breakaway would be for money. I think the current system is unsustainable with the NCAA, which is why they want to leave. Talking about the breakaway again. Let's see who else. I've got a lot of people who don't have member tags. Right now, you can tell Mark's Holy Grail is a member because he has that little special symbol next to his name. A lot of you guys have been members in the past, and you've lost your membership, not because you did anything wrong, but you're going to have to renew your memberships because we did a change, and we went to one membership fee, and it has everybody renew. So if you've lost your membership, I would recommend getting that membership back and getting back in the fold. We miss you at the College Football Mafia. We'll be doing another live show tomorrow night. And I don't want you to miss that. Let's see other member comments. Boy, you guys have been active tonight. I can't believe there's so many member comments tonight. This is incredible. The iPatch says, go Utes. Okay, iPatch, good to have you here tonight. I appreciate you. How much respect am I giving you that I'm saying go Utes on a BYU Cougar channel, huh? I'm just teasing you. All right, I've gone back far enough, I think. Out of nowhere, we have a new membership, renewed membership, actually. And that would be Town Hawk is not a new member. He's an OG member, and I'm glad to have him back. Thank you so much, Town Hawk, for renewing. I will see you tomorrow night for the member live show. Tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern time, I will be sitting here, and I'll be doing a members live show. I'll advertise it on Twitter, so you can get your membership back and check us out. We're going to talk about this Pac-12 commissioner nonsense. I hate when people talk down to me. I can't imagine what it's like to be a fan of Oregon State or Washington State or Boise State and have this lady talking down to you because she thinks you're too stupid to understand what a media deal is and how media rights affect your school. By the way, how many times did she say that? Media partners, media partners, media partners. Bob Thompson ran a media company, and he said, we don't care. Yeah, we'd appreciate if you didn't share confidential stuff. Sharing your media dollars up to you. It doesn't have anything to us. Don't blame us. I got to get Bob on. I should send him a message tonight. I'm going to do that. All right, everybody, I got to go. I'm already gone over 18 minutes. I was going to stay 2 hours, and I've gone longer. You guys are killing me, always making me stick around. Everybody, thanks for being here tonight. I appreciate you. Make sure you're following, like, subscribe. If you're watching on Twitter, jump over to YouTube, College Football Mafia, put it in, hit the subscribe button, turn on your notifications on Twitter and on YouTube. And last but not least, I'm begging you, everybody here watching has a friend they have not talked to, has family member that maybe you have not spoken to for a while. Send that person a text. If you think about them, if their face jumps in your mind, I guarantee you that's inspiration. I'm not going to tell you where the inspiration is coming from, but I can tell you it's very important that you follow those leads. If you have those names or people's addresses, your wife, your partner brings them up, say hi, call them, send them a text, check on them. You will make their day. You might make their week. Hell, you might make their year. Any more social media is killing people. Depression is real in the world. One way to do that is take care of each other. And I'm begging you guys to do that. If you do it once a week, you will have a better life. I promise you that. I am Nathan Bomber Brown. Thanks for watching us tonight. I appreciate you. We will see you tomorrow night for a members live show. And stick around and watch the end of this because Moen has done some fantastic background work for the show. And I really like it. It's very cool. And I can only say thank you so many times. Appreciate you guys. We're going to say peace out. Go Cougs. Go Richland Bombers. And go to you, College Football Mafia family. We check you out tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here. See you.
Welcome to the gridiron, folks. He's the signal caller, the general on the field.